Morning guys, work is continuing on the 03 Hilux. So a couple of days ago I drew some hieroglyphics on the blackboard for Mike to follow, kind of like that, and he's done that and produced this little bracket. Of course it's not finished, it'll be strengthened up, and he has done an awesome job of following my instructions. And I got in yesterday and had a bit of a look over it, and we did some workouts with the radiator, trying to fit all that up, and he'd made some brackets for that. And I thought we could do with a few more mils of clearance for the fan. So I moved the engine back, started setting about giving the firewall a light tickle. So I set about moving that motor back a little bit. I shortened up the bolt that was one of the bolts that came through the firewall by a few more millimeters, and I gave the firewall a little bit of a rub, very, very slight on the driver's side, and that moved the motor back maybe 3, maybe 4 millimeters. And I know it doesn't sound like lots, but it's going to make a difference when we put that fan in. So today Mike is going to cut that bracket to bits a little bit, and we're going to move everything, reroute it, just in retack it in another spot. That bracket will be strengthened up, it'll come out and be strengthened up on the bench, but it's much easier just to mock it up. It's strong enough to hold the gearbox in place. So that was all pretty good. He's going to start working on engine mounts today, and we're going to build up our race mount set. I do a kit set of mounts, and we use them on most of our conversions. We'll use a rubber mount, a factory type mount on the gearbox. I must get a new one of those because that one's stuffed. And we use our race mounts on the front. Zero thrust front to back, and they can't sag. They've got a through bolt in them, so if the mount fails, the motor can't fall out or grab things. So that's how I prefer to do them. Other things we've looked at, we looked at drive shafts, and we'll touch on that maybe today or tomorrow. So we unwrapped one of the drive shafts, and we pulled out this front shaft, we held it up into the vehicle, and it actually fitted. And I thought that's a little bit strange, because this being a V6, the box moves, it's a different box, things are different places. You can see right here it has been modified. So it was the last guy who was trying to fit it when it measured up drive shafts before he even had the motor properly fitted in place. Now that does give me a little bit of a problem. The reason for that is we require paperwork to prove that the drive shaft has been completed by a competent person. They have to be suitably competent, suitably qualified in the welding and the balancing and the manufacture of drive shafts. So it's one of the things that we do have to outsource. But this one has already been done, and I don't have any paperwork. There's a bit of a problem. In this situation, I've got two options. One, throw the shaft away and start again. Or two, hopefully this is going to work, is I will create the paperwork by taking this drive shaft to the drive shaft technician, who will check it and balance it and say that it is all good. Fingers crossed that he's willing to do that. If not, back to plan one, throw it away and start again, or we might be able to find a diesel one the right length. For the back drive shaft, we put that in place, and it is looking really close. I'm thinking this is a factory diesel one. On the last one we did, we ended up moving the slip joint from here to there and throwing that double cartridge away. It was having problems spinning that hanger bearing. So we're a little unsure quite. We don't have an exact plan yet on this. We'll fit it up. We're going to have the gearbox mounted. We'll fit the drive shaft up. We'll probably look at doing drive shaft hoops, I think. And then we'll pull the drive shafts off, get them over to be checked and balanced to know that they're right, get the paperwork sorted. And that way we can be continuing with other things while that stuff is away. and we can fully weld the drive shaft hoops and all those sorts of things. We'll explain a bit more when we get to drive shaft hoops. There's a few little peripheral things that will need to be done. Brackets around the front double cartage joint on the drive shaft. What do we got to do in here, Mike? Just connect it and make it run, eh? Drive it out. Plug it in. Problem is I haven't done that. Haven't even wired it. We've got, once it's mounted, we'll mount that dampener. And we're attempting not to put it underneath in this one. We're trying to keep it on top, like I did with the last one. Oh, and I've also modified the throttle body. I did end up, this is the right one? That's the right one. We modified it to allow us better intake. And we found an airbox we're hoping to use as well. So that will be, can be fitted up. In the fan department, we were going to use a Maridine fan, but the motor design gave us problems with clearance. So we've gone to this Zergo 16-inch fan, which is over 2000 CFM. So that's going to be mounted onto our radiator. Drive shaft bolts. Oh, that what a pain in the backside that is. So this vehicle, this is what the drive shaft bolts look like. And I can't even get these nuts off. Here's what the other ones look like. I don't think I can use those. So I scratched through my box. We have a box, I can't really see the writing, but drive shaft bolts and nuts. And I was able to find enough bolts. But I do need to get some more nuts because they're the special fine thread. So we'll find some of those and I'll be using the genuine ones. Little stuff. There's a new fuel filter to fit. Because we've disturbed the fuel system and we're trying to make this thing as reliable as possible, just some little stuff it's important to think about. It all adds to the cost of the conversion. So another busy day for us. I've got some wiring to do, Mike's got some engineering to do, and we'll do a couple of updates as we go through if we get a chance. Otherwise we'll do another update once we've got most of that work completed. Cool, talk to you soon. So you got that's sitting in really nice.
I decided to go behind those bolts instead of forward, so I thought it looked a bit better.
Yeah, it's all.
Otherwise, it would have had to come way forward.
Yeah, it's a pain having to get in there anyway.
Yeah.
But on this one, because we're that far back, you're better behind those bolts.
That's what I thought.
And it's going to be a bit of a nuisance getting the nuts done up. The top one we'll get with a, get that one with a socket, and that one we'll just have to get with our stubby screwdriver.
We'll do it up before we put the bottom mount in.
Yeah.
If that's possible.
Oh, yep, we might be able to, and we might be able just to lift the motor up, jack it up one side, slip it in. Normally, of course, the mounts would be on the vehicle when you put it in. So you just put it in. And the great thing with these, too, is if you want to lift it, because it can pivot on that center point,
yeah.
You could put a spacer in here if you wanted to lift it.
Yeah,
and it'll just adjust. It'll just adjust. And make sure you put the big washers each side of the through bolt. So on the through bolt, big washer there,
yeah,
and a big washer there, and then a spring washer, and then the nut. Oh. And it gives us lots of thread poking out, but the cert man wants at least 2 threads on every single bolt.
We should get that.
And because those ones are factory bolts, so even though it doesn't have a spring washer, he can't complain because it's a factory bolt. Well, he can, but I'll explain kindly. That looks good. The dipstick, while you're doing this, oh, that's going to be out of your way anyway.
Yeah.
Motor sitting straight, we're fine. I'm happy. They kind of match. Looks right.
Okay.
Mike has tacked up some mounts and they're looking bloody good. And he's going to put them in. You are putting them in. Yep. We'll stick some mounts in there. Much easier without the alternator, and much easier without power steer. Air conditioning pump goes on that side.
Make much difference.
Mount in, mount in. Measure, measure. Well, bring it down.
See the flavour we reckon?
Yep. I've actually got a bit of rust converter for this front panel too, eh?
Yeah, I see that.
If you can attack that, might as well deal to that at the same time. Well, it's looking very lovely in here. Position wise, it looks good. I reckon you've got it about 0.5 of a millimetre closer to the left-hand side.
I reckon at least those steel pushes in.
You like those?
Because you feel those.
You like those solid mounty bits?
Do you actually have to have rubber?
I believe that the rules say you have to have rubber. Though, there was one that came down from up north, and the certifier made him take the rubber out and put steel in and made them solid. I'm like, that doesn't sound right to me. I'm just going to have to give that lust a little bit of a tickle with the die grinder at the back there, just to give us a couple more millimetres there, and just a little bit of a tickle there. But that's looking primo, man. You've done a lovely job. You like that? You like that solid mounting? Yeah, well, we'll put some rubbers and we'll actually give it a, that'll be better. And I reckon we'll get that dipstick. They've done a nice job of clearing that there, and hopefully, I don't think those factory, the factory, I think we'll Z-hose that one, just a U-bend, and I think a factory one might even fit on that one, eh? On that heater hose.
Maybe.
The one that you cut up.
Not really.
No, not really, eh?
That looks shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to quite do the job.
No.
Okay, if you give that...
It'll work if it was going on to that one.
Yeah, do a crossover.
Yeah.
So this one is way too short, is it? Man, they stick good. So that one's way too short. Would that one kind of almost work on the wrong side?
If it was a little bit longer, it would.
So that design of hose.
It actually pretty much would work.
Okay, and the other one is would kind of do the same thing. So I need two hoses that look like that.
Yeah, just a couple of milk elbows. Be perfect for that.
A couple of what?
Elbows, milk elbows.
Milk elbows. Yeah.
Be perfect for that.
We can get a Z hose. And they should do the job, I reckon.
That would actually fit, just about.
Yeah, but we've got to remember, even though you don't, there has to be enough move. We have rubber to allow for the movement, and of course, with your solid mounting, it ain't going to move.
Yeah,
but we're actually going to have.
Give it a heaps more movement.
We're going to give it some rubber, and they'll give it like 3 mils more movement.
Exactly.
Still bugger all. Okay, so a couple of Z hoses is the go. 16mm Z hoses. Fuel return there, and it, what do? Do we put this one out of the fuel footer because it's got the proper bracket? Do we cut the bracket off and move it around here so it comes out on this angle through here and heads sort of around with this one.
Does it really matter? That's the fuel intake there, isn't it?
Yep. Well, I don't want it just, it kind of looks shit just coming across here.
You probably just bend the pipe.
And then if we pull it, it's got a banjo fitting on the back, we turn it round, and it sort of comes through here and it joins with this one, goes in a little bit of a, and then they're sort of running across the same spot. I kind of want them going more around by the firewall. Yeah, I think if we bend that round more and we sort of bring them round through here a bit more, we'll kink this one around and follow the firewall. I didn't look in the container for...
That brake line could have stayed where it was.
Yeah, because this is being non-VVTi, it's slightly different across the head. It's got more pokey out here, less pokey out here. Mate, you did a nice job. Good clearance on the steering. So with the wiring, I was going to flip these brackets around and bring it up high on the tapper cover. Instead of down on the side of the head, I'm going to bring it up a bit higher when I bring it round up to the airflow meter, and I'll keep that in the sort of the same.
You're still going to have the igniter things over here?
Yeah, I'll put the igniters over in the same spot. Because the last one I put the power steer reservoir up here, but because this one is non-VVTi, we can put igniters here. We've got mounting holes. One of that's, so we'll have to put it in here, won't we? Do we have the igniters somewhere for it? Yes, they're hanging off the loom, which is on the back wall there. Going to want to rebuild that as well. So I'll do that. I've got a couple others to do at the same time, so I'll fix that one. We've got like 2mm on the back there. It's probably enough.
Good luck beating one.
I was that you had the steering up, and I was thinking, shit, that's close. It's only like 10 mils, but there's more than a hand distance. Let's go.
Wait.
We'll find now. It's sitting here. You can do drive shafts, eh? Bolt some drive shafts in. How much clearance we got between the steering rack? A hand. So now you got bolted on the mounts. You're going to tell me this drive shaft doesn't fit? Yeah. He'll considering we already put it on the other day. Looks pretty good, eh?
Yep.
I thought you were putting that... Oh, you were painting that bracket, eh? Sorry, I doubted you.
Don't give me that high pitch.
Oh, that looks good. Well, the guy that started the job before us got that right.
Yeah. I suppose.
Providing our man will say that it's all good and it balances properly. We'll see. Penetration looks good, so we got good penetration in the slip joint.
Well, I reckon an infinite number of monkeys banging on a keyboard, you'll eventually get Hamlet.
Yeah. And it even looks like it might have had some new crosses put in it. Do you want a hand holding that back one, or are you going to use the lifter?
I just don't want to do it in general.
Do you want to go home?
Yeah, I think I won't.
We'll do it tomorrow then. Yeah, I don't know if that's strong enough. Doesn't move though.
She'll be right.
Yeah, so on that. Oh yeah.
Grind those
No
wheels
angles
off.
at all. Pretty much.
It's pretty much straight now, so just grind those wheels flat. Plate.
Yep.
Simple.
Yep.
You're on a 50mm, so it captures right up.
Yeah, yeah. So right to the top,
Yep.
or you can actually go.
That's 40mm.
You could probably leave it like 2 mils off the top, and so as you buzz along, when the weld goes along, It's angled nicely, and then we weld in through the hole.
Yep.
We'll get, and at the bottom same deal, because it's going to be coming all the way down. I don't know if the last one I left 5 mils out, so I put the plate in between or not.
Well, like
I don't think so.
That's 40 mil plate and it's 50 mil all up.
Yeah, so just put it a couple of mils off so you can put a nice weld along it.
Yep.
I've got to get that gearbox mount.
Yeah.
So
You're going to buy a new one?
yes, I'm going today, so I'll take that with me.
Oh, yeah.
So drive shaft's in and straight.
So just balance?
I'm thinking with the drive shaft, you whip down to the dirty old V6 Surf that's down there, the one that was turbocharged. I'd say one with a Recaro interior, but they've both got Recaro interior. The 4-door with the Recaro interior.
And take that interior out and put in my Surf?
No. See if you can find some drive shafts in there. They should be the same length as these ones. Make sure you mark them, and if we've got those ones, I can then take these ones today to the balancer, and we can get them balanced, because that'll take them a week.
Well, so why do we need those? We
don't need the front one, but we need the back one to do our hoops, so we can start planning hoops. So we can at least put, because what we'll do for hoop is we're going to put now. The rule is really dumb.
Capture the whole chassis.
You've got to capture the full width of the chassis.
So do you need two? You need one here somewhere.
So we need a drive shaft hoop on each join, there and there.
So don't need one here.
Don't need one there, even though that's
Probably the dangerous one.
where it's likely to break. If you're going to break somewhere, there's a slip joint, or any joint in here is less likely to break, you know. But so I generally try to aim back in here. Basically, it's designed, if the drive shaft breaks and falls down, you want to jab into that ground and push the back up. So we can at least build the front of the back. And so we'll probably end up pulling these brake lines out, or we go on the outside. The other one, we go on the outside here. We come all the way down, get some 6 mil, bend it into an angle, put a triangle in the middle of it. So I'll draw the picture. So what are we actually doing here? Hilux.
Undercarriage.
Motors in.
Motor.
Oh. Engine. Oh. Engine's in. So we've got to do drive shafts. So we go hoops and balance. Gearbox mount, yep. And weld.
So we don't need,
and we got engine mounts.
Front.
No hoop on the front. I've got to get for drive shaft. I've got to get nuts and washers, the proper ones. The factory ones are the best because they just work, and there's no problem with cert with them. They don't question the strength or anything.
Surprisingly, they wouldn't want one there because you think that'll be just as dangerous as the back.
Oh look, we've got one. We've got a hoop. Look. Oh, we got a quarter sway bar safety hoop.
That's all done, ready to bolt in the hoop on that one.
Yep.
I suppose, is that considered a drive shaft hoop?
No, we just don't need one. I don't question the rules on that. I can say they're silly, but okay, we've got to do that steering dampener. Steering dampener. I reckon we pull the brakes. Check over the brakes. We'll do some diff oils, and diffs. But don't oil a box until it's been out again. Power steer lines. And then hoses. Oh, I ordered a Z hose and then I found one in the back room. So you could probably do the... Yeah, one's... It's a... If you bring it down, we'll have a look at it. Inner guards. And oh. So for the inner guards, there's templates. Yep. Make sure you do the 03, not the 09. Oh, they should be labelled. Oh, fuel lines, of course. And filter. Airbox. Oh, have you fitted the for the radiator? Have you done the overflow too? No. Just double check that fits, and the washer bottle. Wash bottle, yeah. So that fits clear as fine, doesn't it? Well, so we don't. Fits. That's factory, so we don't actually need to do that.
Not like the overflow sits here, so that should be perfectly fine. Just a maybe adjustment of the hose.
I've got to find a pump for the AC. And do lines. I'll wait till those mounts are welded. I reckon it's just about enough, eh?
Because that would easily do that one, and then that would easily do that one.
I reckon we just about... I did a measure, and I was like within a few mils.
That'll bend nicely.
Yeah. So I reckon if you're really careful... I've got 2 more coming, because they're quite nice for these jobs. Just when you slide them on...
Bit of poo.
A little bit of lube so I can take them off again. Don't hose clamp them, so it's obvious that they're not clamped, because I will need them out of the way when I do the wiring. Oh, wiring. And then an exhaust. Bumper. We got those brakes. I put brakes on here, eh? And a bleed. Because you've taken all the fluid out of them. I don't have a battery for it. There wasn't one. They can wait another week or so.
I'll just get him a new one.
Yep. No stuff around. Just get a new one.
And that clamp should fit fine.
Yes, well, we've got the clamp. Throttle cable. So I've modified the throttle body.
Same as mine, bolts on there, is it?
Yeah.
It'll fit nicely. Do you need a thing for that to sit on?
Ideally, we'd put a plate in there, rubber plate. Plastic plate. Throttle cable. Yeah, we'll use the diesel one. Drive by wire. So this model, the diesel didn't have a throttle cable. Oh, brake. We've got a new bit of line. So it's from there, and it just comes down to here.
Oh, yeah. That's easy.
Vacuum rooster line.
Intake manifolds down there.
Intake manifolds on and button down.
Aircon.
I've got aircon, and you've got the aircon radiator to go in. I ran out of the bearings for the late ones. So I've got another one over there to do as well, so I'll do this one as well. It'll be shagged given everything else that was on this, and the dirt and how long it's been sitting. Well, how about we set the throttle body on? Now I've modified it.
And get this message.
And we get it measured.
Duct tape on there, it's going to be right.
Yeah, just leave the tape so I can't. I just leave the gasket on too. Just slide it on. It's been on before. The breather from there comes around to here, and I've taken the bit of steel line that normally goes around there off.
So that's to stay blocked off.
Yeah.
And just go to there now.
Yeah. I wonder if I just drop a bit of hose down underneath the manifold and pop it out this side and onto here, so you don't have it coming around the front. Keeps it a bit cleaner, eh?
There's some nuts on it.
I wonder if I've got.
That's going to be mint, man.
These generally aren't quite long enough for a Hilux. If you want to screw that back for a start, we're going to have to. I'll go see if I've got another shorter throttle cable.
Why don't we turn the plenum around and make up a bodgy-ass looking wheel, spring, and then paint it black?
No, let's not.
And then just give that a tweak out.
Yeah, give that a little bit of a bend tweak out, and we'll
and then that keeps that the same.
Yep. And we'll bring the fuel line sort of in this.
Bring that in and
quite low, I think, down here, just above the aircon.
You just about bend it around so it goes on the inside of this. So.
Yeah, something like that, and head around to there, and we'll give that a bit of a tweak, and it'll kind of line up. Those heater hoses look lovely, man.
Yeah.
That universal hose worked perfectly, eh?
It's just a shame that one's got that slight twist, but you could probably, by cutting a bit more off this, you could, but yeah.
You hardly notice it.
There's no restriction there.
This one here, we'll get a big pair of, once we've got it all in place, and we'll just, because we'll bend it out. It's just bent in from when we were lifting it. So throttle, washer bottle, the overflow bottle fits. So if I get this throttle cable, and we do an overall length, so we're going to come, these are fairly natural, work out a length. So I've got a bit of wire, so if I come out like this, and we have a little bit of a bend like that, just a flowing bend, so it's not too sharp. I think it's not too bad like that though, is it?
Yeah, but by the time you put a bend in that cable on your end.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm just looking at now.
Whereas by going under there, you would.
If I do that, that shouldn't be too bad. I think we can get a reasonable flow by that.
Won't be too bad.
Okay, can you give me a white pen? I'll just mark that there like that actually. Right, it's actually on. It's just past that joint. Just past here. That's the length there.
Who does that?
So it's this side. So this is an X. We don't want that bit. Okay.
That pen's leaking everywhere.
Oh, neat. And then, so that's sitting in place. If I put this in, there's not much adjustment on this one. So basically I need to go between, so from there, and it's going to be sitting inside. So I put that there. And then if I get a throttle body and I measure the length, covered in white pen.
Oh.
So if I get the throttle body and I measure the length of that cable unit, so from here on a reasonably natural pivot, that's like 65 millimeters. So from this point it needs to be, so at the moment it's 40 and it needs to be 65, so it needs to be 25 millimeters longer in the inner cable.
Another inch.
I'd love another inch. No, I'm quite happy without it actually.
You'd be stoked if you doubled in size.
Whoop, whoop.
So these hoses, they just put a bend on it? You don't need to actually use a bend or anything?
Depends if it's going to kink.
Well, hopefully that one's just going to pull out nicely. This one I'll just give it.
Generally, if you just hold them right and you hold your hands right, they'll
Might
just
pull that out to do that one.
Yeah.
That one there, if I put something over that, hopefully that should be right because it's held here.
Yeah.
I'll try that.
That's nice. That's looking like it, eh?
So I'm going to that one, eh? For the
Yes.
return.
Yep.
So you're happy with the straight pipe straight there?
Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a kink just to allow for. I'll just bring it around a little bit more. Like
Because I can go around and set it up nicely.
Just around like this. You want,
a tiny bit more on
with all those, see, the reason they have a bend in them is to allow for the movement better.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's the same as that. Yeah, that looks good. That looks real
That'll
nice.
be sweet. That'll go a nice curve.
Yep.
And I'll,
nice curve.
I'll then bend this one, basically to follow it. Cable tie it together.
Yep. Bring them round pretty close to each other, and they'll just come around. They'll flow around nicely. And then we can bring this one here for the breather.
Yeah.
We'll drop that down by the wiring, and bring it round as well, and it can come around and then pop up to there.
One from the plenum to there.
Yes.
And that's all. Where does that one go?
Okay, so that one needs vacuum. Oh, yep. So that one is going to be to here.
Oh, yeah.
So that's.
So that one you want to run that around and under, and then pop it up.
Yeah. So that's for your ADD. So your diff system. So as long as that gets some vacuum to it, we'll be happy. So that can actually sit probably underneath here somewhere.
Yeah, but so that one needs to be routed. We'll put it around here and like
I haven't, see, that's all factory still. So as long as it gets vacuum into here.
Yeah.
So the other option is we could run.
We can turn this around, so it's coming down here.
Yeah.
What's this fella for?
So that was the plug for the equivalent of this one, of the VSV for the breather. So I've taken that off.
So you don't need that anymore.
No, I don't need that anymore.
I should go.
And I've got I'll have to find that rubber seal for the airflow meter.
And that one will should fit straight into that.
Yep. So that's not going to foul on bonnet. Or do we put that down there like that?
What?
Now, if we put that like that, okay, and then, so that bit's correct. So that bolt's correct.
Hold it up, because can we give it a beating?
Can we give it some relief?
Here. It's just this bulge here, which is that for the washer or something?
There's some bracket. There's a little bit of a bulge just there for that washer.
I think it's just that bulge there that's holding it, and then it would fit.
Where's that airflow meter that I did? What did I do with it?
It's on the bench underneath the water.
Got it. So it goes that way.
Those bolts line up.
Yeah, mate, they're going to bolt in.
And unfortunately, I don't have it, but there was the other two had a bracket coming out.
Oh, it actually had a bracket coming down to the body.
I don't have them.
Oh, and there's actually no bolts on this side of the unit.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to endeavour to put some bolts on this side of it. We'll get some little spaces and push them in. Yep. But look at that. That was meant to be. It is sitting up a little bit higher. I think the plane upwards is a little bit more than I wanted. We like to get a 45. So we can have a 90. There's a 90. Or there's a 45. A 45 brings it off. But I don't think they do a long 45. They do a long 90. Okay, we'll come up with a plan there. I'll see what I can find, eh? The reason these nip up is when it's been done up really tight, it's swollen this up. So very carefully on the linisher or on the grinder, just whip the end off. Just taper it down a little bit, and that should help it screw in nicely. And use lube. As with pretty normal with these conversions, nothing ever quite goes to plan, but it's actually pretty good to have a plan to kind of work with, even if it does change. The end goal is make the motor run, so as long as you keep focusing towards that, you should get there. There's the motor, so that's looking pretty good. We're happy with that, and Mike's done some fuel lines over the back there. We'll look at possibly getting the main pressure line getting crimped and put up the new fuel filter. So that's pretty happy with that stuff. We've actually had a problem with the gearbox. I chose to have it rebuilt by someone else, and it doesn't quite work like we wanted. So that's dropped out again. It was pretty simple. Transfer case is out, and I might go through that transfer motor while we're at it. It'll allow me to get the drive shafts away to get balanced and checked. We'll strengthen the gearbox mount, so there's the template for that. Bell housing had to come off again, and I'm going to get a new gearbox mount as well. And seeing we've gone that far, we might even just pull the motor out again. The mounts are done, but we need to weld them up. So it might actually be quicker for us just to work the motor out again and weld up the mounts on the bench. I can just give that firewall a little tidy up. I've got it packed well back in there. I just want to make sure there is a little bit of clearance. And if I was really fast, I might be able to get a wiring loom done. Chances are I won't, because I've got a few other things to do. We're going to have a week. Oh, and steering. This one just sits a little bit different to the last one with the VVTi. And the drag link, or the dampener, is clashing a little bit. So we'll be looking into that next week. Right now, we're going to have a weekend. Well, I'm going to go collect some parts. And we'll talk to you once we've got a bit more progress happening. So we've taken off the V6 drag link, and just to make our life fun, on the V6 one the dampener sits on a bit of an angle, and it was just coming up close to our sump plug. The diesel one sits straight, so it's given us a new little issue. We've just given the sump a little bit of a tickle with the hammer, very slightly, and I'm just going to be the bracket. We're going to work this through its motion. Ah, you're going to grab me. Okay, so see, it's because it doesn't have an angle. Because it doesn't have an angle, we've got issues. So it needs to be way out here, and that's really ugly. What have we got over here? I'm on max. Yikes, can't go any further now. Okay, well, how much weight? So we've got. So that's got 20 mil. Yeah. Should we mark it? Okay, how much we got?
Yeah, right.
What else is going to be in our way?
Radiator should be alright, everything should be fine.
That's the spot then, eh? Well, down here's not going to work unless we get an aftermarket kit for that. It goes through the range nicely there.
Mm.
It's going to be really hard to make that neat and tidy.
Yeah. Sure is. Yep.
You never think about it anyway. Let's get the motor out. Seeing our gearbox is out anyway, let's pull the motor out again. Even though we weren't planning to. Let's get it out. Get those engine mounts welded up. I'll give that firewall a tickle.
Have to be gentle, one's already broken.
Do you want to get your welder in there again?
Well, it's just the tack's coming. Just one corner of it.
So you can give it a tickle up. I'll give that firewall a tickle up. Oh, power steering. Slip a power steer pump on, get those power steer lines, get the box out by the bulldozer, and then up in the storeroom, there's a box of different parts, and we'll work out some power steering. So we can get that all crimped together while we've got the motor out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, I do it. So, well, I want a power steer pump to work.
Oh.
Okay. This particular one is actually for my own surf. That two-door down there.
Mm.
So that's the setup for that. These are, we've made them a standard length. We try to make those both the same length if we can. These two are a little bit different.
They are a little bit different. You failed on that one, actually.
This was one of the first ones we did. So we've been trying.
How hard is it to get two pieces of hose the same length?
We're trying to make them kind of a standardised unit. So then one hose does both of them. But that's the concept we've got. We're not going to have the idle up. We don't need the idle up on this one. Don't worry about that. That other one's an auto. So I'm going to run the idle up. I don't even know if we've got these fittings for this, so we might have to find some because there were none in it. Oh, you've got a banjo with a bolt on it too. You're doing well.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. That's why I don't throw anything out. Don't throw anything out, ever. So I kind of think that the idea is you want some rubber to allow for the fact that the engine's going to...
It doesn't need to be big or anything.
And no, just up. Well, I bring it up here to give it enough room. And remember, we've got that air box in here too. And that the steel right angle makes it quite easy to work with. Oh, I did have some spare ones of these poses for a while. Oh, so there's another one.
Yeah, it's a bit long though.
Yeah.
But I've got both fittings here, I could make that work.
And it's got an idle up on it. So that's your basic with no...
thingamajig.
Yeah, but I don't know about stressing the just not having a bend in it, having that bend that quite sharp. Having that. I think this design looks better and gives you a place to mount it.
There's nothing better than having a place to mount it.
Yeah, well, you like a bit of mounting, don't you? Bloody heap of traffic here today. It's busy as. Stresses me out. There's a motor. Oh, I did it again, eh? It's an engine.
What?
There's an engine.
Motor.
Engine.
Engine.
You have a little brackety thing? Have you designed where that's bolting on?
Yeah, up there.
Which hole?
Up there. About there somewhere.
Well, you need to make sure the bracket is actually going to bolt on before we take it over. Because otherwise we need to weld brackets on. So you need to put a bracket through here. So it can weld there. Right.
Yep.
Next one.
Is that right? The right fitting?
Yeah, so this can be trimmed right off. Nip it off properly. It'd be easier if I could actually screw this in here.
Screw it in.
That's a narrow one. So no, that one's going to need the banjo bolt cut down because you see it's. So that's actually one off the hydraulic fan.
Yeah.
But you can still use them just fine because it's just a banjo bolt, and just cut the bolt down a bit shorter. So, but this, what angle are you going to put this on? I'll get a fitting ready for it. So we can actually bolt that on tight. Make sure the bolt, remember we're going to put a couple of washers on there, but if it bottoms out in there, in the bottom of the pump, it won't do up tight.
So is that's not a thick one, no, it's still the same. Yeah.
Same. There are shorter banjo bolts too. There's lots of thin ones because that's the hydraulic fan pump.
Yeah.
And different models. Here's a short bolt, it's fine. A bit more of a bend on an upwards angle. There. How about we just do it with a bit of wire? Yeah.
Garden hose.
A garden hose. Never thought of that.
I did. I thought of it myself.
By yourself, you thought of garden hose?
Garden hose.
You really want to do it with garden hose?
Well, then you can get your nice angles and things to make it look pretty.
Yep.
I want it to look pretty.
No, we're going to the
Top.
top one because I don't want it crossing over. It'll look funny if it crosses over. So we've measured up power steer lines, and Mike thought we'll do it in garden hose. It's actually looking pretty good in garden hose, to tell you the truth. So that'll come up and be sized up. We'll run oil cooler lines up here with this and into the reservoir, into that reservoir. And we'll hopefully be able to get some crimps done onto our main feed instead of having the hose clamps and make it look a little bit more standard. We've been playing with steering dampener. And we'll come up with a plan for that while it's out. So Mike's going to have a bit of a tidy up, and then we's going to pull that motor out again, even though it wasn't quite the plan. The plan with this one was to prep the motor, put it in the hole, leave it there. But unfortunately, because the gearbox had issues, I had it outsourced, didn't work, no big drama. That's conversions at the end of the day. We have got that out. So the easiest way for us is just to hook the motor out again. We will weld up the engine mounts, do a couple of other bits and pieces, and put it back in it. It's pretty much just sitting here at the moment. I can't do radiator hoses because the motor's not on the right angle. The radiator's getting some welding done at the moment. So there's a few things that we just can't do. But so we keep moving on along in the process. We can do power steer lines because they're flexible. Can sort that fuel line. And I can get some wiring done if I had the time to do it. I've got a whole lot of other things to do as well. That'll keep Mike busy for the day. And we'll give you a bit more of an update as we progress along. I like them tight.
When I'm trying to get them off, I like them loose.
Have you tried some lube? Lube often helps them get off easier.
How am I going to get lube in there?
Try the other end, because the other end's smaller. I'm telling you, there's such a thing as a happy battery.
Well, not really. I've never seen a battery running around going, oh, look at him, happy days.
We'll have to see about this. And we'll have a little tester when it gets 100%. Does that make it a happy battery?
No smiley face.
There's no smiley face. Is that all the difference?
Yeah.
So it needs a smiley face and 100% to be a happy battery. Right. Cool. Good enough yet?
Struggle when someone's watching.
See, that was easy, eh? That's why I'm on the big bucks. Because I know the other end's easier to get off. That might be your problem. You've been trying the wrong end all the time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Still get the same result.
What do you need me for?
Pull it out.
Out again.
Was it really in?
Yeah, I think it was on. Righto. Get those mounts off, get them welded up. I think we're going to end up pulling this around 10 mils, so it's just about on that. But or we can, depending where the throttle body is, because the throttle body's about here.
There might be a little bit of bend in it anyway.
Well, we cut it on an angle.
Yeah, that's it. Like there might be that slight bit of bend. Because you don't even need.
You're allowed a hose clamp on that bit. I'll let you put a hose clamp on this
You
end.
don't even need of an angle
Yeah, that's right. And it's just
to make it work.
yeah.
And that, because to move this one over, you'll lose that one.
That's
so
right.
it's already pulled over as it is.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get it on an angle cut. Throttle body's about There? You're not hose clamping there.
I do it just for fun.
So I found it's 83mm straight and an 83mm 45 degree. And that should provide enough movement. I mean, there's bugger all movement in the engine mounts anyway, so.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Well, that's got to be the easiest way I've ever seen to do them. That's awesome.
Yeah. And even like slicing, I had to trim the other one. No worries, eh? You'd think it would fold it over.
You know, I've got a little box of those, eh? So if we ever need little bits of rubber, there's a whole box of them at the back. And that's the easiest way I've ever seen. That's awesome.
Well, you can't get much cleaner cut.
No, no.